This is Overtime, a weekly moment of off-the-cuff commentary on everything from sports and politics to observations about everyday life from NFL All-Pro Carl Lee. Welcome to Overtime.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and this is my overtime session, and I have my co-host Hollis Lewis with me again, and we're gonna dive into a conversation that we just had on the show about the reality of youth sports. The importance of it and what it is meant to, what we think it is meant to do, and what it's done for us, specifically for us. But I'm sure I know a host of people who it has done great things, and sports has done great things for them, regardless of how far they went in the sport. And so, Hollis, I'm gonna open up by saying, I think the hugest thing that sports brings to you, and you said this several times on the show earlier, a competitive nature that comes with, because you can be competitive, but you need a work ethic to be competitive. If you are going to be competitive, if I got to compete with you, I got to have a work ethic to outwork you.
Yeah.
So I think you can't just, you got to have some work ethic to go along with that.
At some point.
Yeah,
because you might not have to work in Little League, middle school, high school.
Right.
It's like I think of Moss, not to say he didn't work, but I knew that he was just more talented than everybody. But once he got to the NFL level, you got to put in some work.
You got to put in work.
Hall of Fame.
And wherever that level is, like you said, it might take you to get to high school.
Yeah.
It may take you to middle school. It may take you to youth. Yeah. You may not be good enough right now, but that work ethic is critical to get there.
And the faster you develop that habit, the better you're gonna be.
And again, I promise you, and I love the fact that I was never at any level of the game getting to the pros. I was an all-state guy, I was an all-conference guy, but I was on nobody's radar to be this great player. I was too small, I was just this, I was just that.
Level?
At no level.
I mean, what about college? He was that guy in college though, right?
For Marshall, but we win in 3 and 4 games.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I'm a safety making tackles. So that's just because they're missing it up front.
Yeah,
it just got to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was going out of the way to make spectacular plays.
Gotcha.
I made all conference, in college. But again, there was nobody like sitting there saying he's the guy.
Kurt Warner,
no.
Randy
Me and Kurt,
Moss.
Nowhere even close. Nowhere even close. And that's going to be most of us.
Yeah.
Most of us who are going to get to play college ball are going to look like me. But the difference is I loved it.
See, I think that's the part people don't understand about you. I think that's really, and I don't know if you do a good job of communicating that, but that's the part I think people don't get about you. You weren't the guy at necessarily any level. You had to literally work everything you had in order to get to your goal was. And you started working at an early age. It wasn't like you just turned around and, okay, I'm the guy. No. And I think that's the beauty in your story as opposed to maybe some other people's story.
I could look at you and I knew that you wasn't doing no work. And I'm like saying, okay, he in my position.
Yeah,
I'm getting him.
Yeah,
I can get him. I can outwork him. I would spot out people. Like I was going to look out to that guy and figure out how hard he works. What does he do? And he's not doing enough, I can get him.
Yeah.
And I had to get those guys to get in at almost every level. And there's nothing about work ethic that I could ever think. If you're not thinking of work ethic, you you got no shot.
But I think, to your point, and I think you've alluded to this on several occasions, is that, and kind of bringing it back to the conversation we just had, if you're in the parents and you're up there screaming and yelling and hollering,
yes.
Like, are you doing that same thing when they not like working? Are you doing the same thing in practice? Are you doing the same thing when they supposed to be working out? Because to your point, that's where you're gonna win at. And I can even say academically. Academically, I've always been fine, never great, and I was always been able to do it decent. But it was when I got to that bar exam that all of a sudden my
something needed to change.
It was just. You had to go to a different level because that wasn't.
That's a great example.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah.
So it's the same thing as like a Moss. I'm sure he was fine all the way. Not to say he didn't work. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But in order to get that gold jacket, it's some hard work that came with that gold jacket.
Absolutely.
That wasn't free. That wasn't off his talent.
No.
You know what I mean? So I think to the point, and I'll let's go. We're all going to have to get to some level where you gonna have to put, like, your natural ability ain't good enough no more. Where you got to work, and if you get the work, if you can get the mentality to work early enough, it's gonna be beneficial.
And parents, whether you get a trainer, whether you just get them out there to do the things that they can't do that well. If they can't dribble, they can't shoot. If they can't hit the baseball, they can't throw the baseball, they can't catch football, they can't tackle the football. If you spend enough time with them to get them to understand how to do it, or get somebody to show them how to do it and then have them do it. Get one dummy and tackle that dummy. You know what I'm saying? That's work. That's going to get you better. Because if you're the best kid in the 4th grade, that does not guarantee you. That does not guarantee you to be the best guy in middle school.
Yeah, because what happens? You may not grow.
No.
You may not get no faster. It's like so. If you ain't learning to put that work in, it's gonna be tight.
And please, this is not. We're not bashing. We're trying to give you the truth. When it comes to sports, that work ethic that you have will spill over. To your point about, for the bar, yeah, bro. When you started to put that work in, that was nothing new to you. When you decided if you wanted to put work in football, you like, I'm gonna settle in. I'm gonna do this. Yeah. I'm gonna put this in. That you can. Your kid, if your kid has never had that, if you've never done that with your kid, he's on the wrong path.
Yeah, and the thing is with sports too, there's different types of work, because there may be the kid who really works really hard and burns out.
Yep.
There may be the kid who ain't necessarily the hardest worker, but they consistently work. You know what I'm saying? And then what I'm saying is that those type of just learning how to work consistently is going to pay off dividends at some level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's, like I said, whether it's on the field, whether it's in your job, whether it's academically, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, I think that has to be the focus, and finding joy in what you're doing has to be the focus too. Because, like I said, if I could find joy in a 2-a-day when it's August and it's hot, and we done practice 3 times a day, if I could find joy in that, I could possibly find joy, in working my way up through this company, or studying the library for hours. I can find the joy, and I can find just the consistency in it.
And see, and again, to my point, and you're confirming my point, my love for the game, man, it didn't bother me to be out there 2 days, full gear, it not 90 degrees. Like that didn't bother me. What bothered me is not playing the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to play the game, and I wanted to be great, man. Like I watch people be great, and I'm like, why can't I be great?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why can't I not be great? Well, however great that I became, however I can define my greatness, I got to that point because I worked at it, and I truly wanted it. Yeah. And I cannot tell you or anybody that if you don't do that, you won't find it.
Yeah, and I would give a warning to parents too. Don't, again, because we all have aspirations and goals and different things of that nature, as far as sports related. But also don't make it where your kid is lost in the game neither.
Right. I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You want to have a variety of interests.
Right.
You want to have things that you aspire to do on the field, on the court,
and off the field,
and off the field.
Yes.
On the court. So you want to have like those two sets of goals where I can have things that I'm interested on and off. Because a lot of people get and me and Justin Phillips, Levi Phillips' son, talk about this all the time. Like once the kind of after the buzzer, after the bell, a lot of guys are lost. They don't know kind of what to do. They don't know what to turn to.
And see, my program, who I was, would burn most people out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want, I played basketball for football. I ran track for football. I trained in the offseason.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, and I trained in the offseason for football.
Yeah.
And you can make the case that's probably too much football.
But not
too much football in my mind.
But not really. Maybe in your mind. But I think the beautiful thing about that is that you have variety in the sport. So you play basketball, you ran track. So it gave you a little different, little breathing room. As opposed to now, if you had that mentality now, you might be playing football 365. Literally, they're about to have a spring league with 8 and 9 year old kids tackle football in the spring, and they just now played in the fall.
That's crazy.
But if you was but if it was Carly,
I want it. I want that.
You'd have been crying to your mom well, I want to go out there.
Yeah, I want some more.
I ain't trying to play basketball track no more.
Yeah.
I can play this all too.
Yeah, and I think and again, and we're going to shut this down here, but multiple sports, I think is critical. I think it's critical.
Multiple sports and variety of interests.
Because you can fool around and specialize in basketball, and your kid's not going to be 6 foot. That's a problem.
Now it's 6'5".
Yeah, I was gonna say he ain't even getting to 6 foot. If he ain't getting to 6 foot, and you've been spending your entire career, he better be Steph Curry, and Steph Curry's 6'3".
Yeah, Chris Paul, they phasing him out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and in football, if you're gonna focus in football, then you better pick the right position based on the potential of your size or lack thereof, because that ain't gonna work. Track, don't nobody want to touch that because it's too ego. The ego hurts you because you get somebody blow past you. You don't want to do that. So track, unfortunately, and track is the sport that you should be in.
Track is. I tell people this all the time. As a kid online training for basketball, he wants to be about. I was like, run track. Because you need to get athletic.
Yes.
That was I was thinking about that today.
Learn to run.
My biggest athletic mistake was not running track. That was the biggest. That is the key. And I would tell if you're a football player in a skill position, and I would even say even if you're a big boy, run track.
Yes.
It ought to be mandatory.
You just don't know what you're missing. And I know you out there listening and ain't paying us no attention. Say, man, I ain't listening to that. That's just
track.
Track is critical. And you look around, track teams are far and few in between.
Yeah, I know the Striders, my daughters are running. It's just like we don't have no boys. We got about 20 girls. I mean, the boys might be doing other things, right? They might come out later. But as of now, we ain't got no boys.
Because you can't handle. They can't see. I can't handle you outrunning me in the 100.
Yeah, but it's like if you go to Florida, Louisiana, Texas, all the football boys, all the skill boys, they run the track. And it's not a matter of really winning and losing. I mean, you want to win, obviously, but if you don't, you out there to get better to be able to run.
I've said this before, man. I ran in college, and as fast as I got in the league, I wasn't that in college, and I'm like third, fourth in the 100. Yeah. But it ain't bothering me because I'm doing something for something else.
Yeah, you training for something else.
I'm training for something else.
Yeah.
But see, some of these kids, I don't know if they can handle that loss.
And that's the thing too, though. And that's the beautiful thing about track. The same thing about baseball. When you're at that plate or when you're in the starting block, it's just you.
Just you.
And it's all on you.
No
and
blame.
I think that helps you. Not only does track and like those other sports help you physically, but they also help you mentally and emotionally because you know it's all on you and you got to do your job. And if you ain't doing your job, then you ain't no coaching, ain't no teammate.
All the coaching happened during the week, and now when you on the line, right? It's just you.
And that guy might just be better than you. Yes. You got to figure out a way.
Yes. All right. Well, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your time, and we'll get back with you. Talk to you later.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee. Visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk for more.